Shalom, shalom. This is a video that's been on the internet for quite a few years. It's been passed around through quite a few brothers. A couple brothers that put it on their channels. But the first time I saw it, I wanted to do a breakdown on it. And, well, today is that day. So without any further ado, all praises, glory, and honor be unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakah Kadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS, for the true leaders of all Israel on earth today. Salutations to the Akim, the confusion of face Akim that are joined unto our ranks, that hazard their lives and their freedom to do this work in truth and sincerity. And to the hopefully elect, the Akwathium, that are listening and learning. To you, I say Shalom. The name of this video is called Black History in the USA, a Banned Cartoon. Yeah, so let's let a little of it play.
Now it's time for a brief history of the United States of America. Hi, boys and girls, ready to get started? Once upon a time, there were these people in Europe called pilgrims, and they were afraid of being persecuted. So they all got in a boat and...
The pilgrims were Edomites, okay? And they were kicked out of... They weren't afraid of being persecuted. They didn't want to follow the rules. And at the time that they came over here, there still was a lot of Negroes in power, sitting in power seats in the old world as well. Okay? And they came to the new world, which is where the 10 tribes had gone to, despite any ignorance of these stupid jakes, these BOIs, if I call them, black only Israelites that want to deny the northern kingdom. The old world, Europe, Africa, and Asia, was fully occupied with people. All right? They came out of the Euphrates and went to the waters, and the Lord held back the flood, and they went a year and a half sailing, a year and a half in waters, whether it's in a boat or not. All right? They went a year and a half in waters to a place where mankind had never dwelt. That is the new world, by simple deduction. Secondly, and more importantly, all the relics that was found among them proved that they had once lived in the so-called Middle East. So you people who deny that are just clearly, woefully ignorant and stupid.
Sailed to the new world where they wouldn't have to be scared ever again. Oh, I'm so relaxed. I feel so much safer. But as soon as they arrived, they were greeted by savages, and they got scared all over again. Indians! So they killed them all. Now
let's stop right there. They had them. They did exactly that. But you see, they kind of made them the truth. The true thing is that this is Esau's color, lighter complected, of course, because the natives were copper-colored people. Not that much different from a Negro. Okay? Let's prove it. Here are some videos, all right, of copper-colored Native Americans. They're not red. They're not red at all. Here are a bunch of pennies. Okay? There they go. Matter of fact, let's click on one. Enough said. Natives actually look like that. See that? The red, that's where you get the word ready from. It's brown with red hues. All right? That's where that comes from. As a matter of fact, to prove, let me turn around and grab this book. I think it would be this one. Yeah, this is Snowden's book. Called Blacks in Antiquity by Frank M. Snowden Jr. And there's a part in here where he's talking about Memnon. Memnon he's talking about how dark he is, Yet at the same time, they called him ruddy. And it was referring to his youth. All right? Because how can you be as black as night and still be ruddy if the definition meant what they say it means today? The Newspeak definition. Because they changed that word. All right? If I could find it. Here we go. This is page 152 in the book Blacks in Antiquity. All right, page 152. And it says at the bottom, before Memnon's time, black men were only a myth. In a description in another scene in the Trojan War, Philostratus notes that the pure black of Memnon's face was a certain ruddiness. He looked young. All right. It adds that in Ethiopia, Memnon was transformed into a statue of black marble. So, you know, I'm not gonna. That's gonna change the direction, but it's just to prove a point, man. All right. It was just to prove a point, because Esau showed you he'll tell you the truth, but then he also tells you a lie. Still, okay.
It's about the freedom of these people by.
When you start looking at the relics, there we go. That's a book. I think that book costs quite a few thousands of dollars. But these are pictures from a book that's a couple hundred years old. These were your natives. Look at them. Look at them. Okay? So there it is, man. Copper-colored people. All right?
Now it's time for a brief history of the United States of America. Hi, boys and girls, ready to get started? Once upon a time, there were these people in Europe called pilgrims, and they were afraid of being persecuted. So they all got in a boat and sailed to the New World where they wouldn't have to be scared ever again.
Oh, I'm so relaxed. I feel so much safer.
But as soon as they arrived, they were greeted by savages, and they got scared all over again. So they killed them all.
Now you notice. Oh shoot!
Boys and girls, ready?
Wait a minute. Didn't mean to do that.
Afraid of being persecuted.
Salakia.
Sailed to the New World where they wouldn't have to be scared ever again.
Oh, I'm so relaxed. I feel so much safer.
But as soon as they arrived, they were greeted by savages, and they got scared all over again. So they killed them all.
Now notice there was no fear in the natives' eyes. They didn't know what guns were, and they didn't come at them aggressively. They actually helped them. Okay, and this is what Esau did to them. All right. This is what Esau did to them. Okay? The scripture, let me see if I can find it. This is Ezekiel 35:5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, in the time of their calamity, and the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, thus saith Yahweh power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. So you Edomites are going to die way worse than what you gave out, man. All right? Because these people actually helped you survive, showed you how to live, and then you turned around, murdered them, exterminated them, committed total genocide on them, and took their land.
You'd think wiping out a race of people would calm them down, but no. Instead, they started getting frightened of each other. Witch! So they burned witches. In 1775, they started killing the British so they could be free. And it worked, but they still didn't feel safe. So they passed a Second Amendment which said every white man could keep his gun.
Now, they skipped a lot of history there because that was in 1775. You know, you go back over 100 years, there was no such thing as a white man. All right? They wrote into law in 1681, all right, and created this so-called white race. And as we were watching the other video, I was watching another video earlier, what they actually did a sit-down on, about the brother who, with the gun rights and all that sort of thing. Hey, and when the Constitution and all these things were written, Negroes and Latinos and Native Americans were in a very low place. All right. And a lot of natives and Negroes were in slavery together at that point. Okay. A lot of them together because they had those census enumerators who had reclassified a lot of natives. A lot of those copper colored natives had reclassified them as black. Okay. Why? To fit this new race of people. The census enumerators, because why? They created white superiority, and behind that came all this other nonsense. You know, came the Mongoloid, Caucasoid, and the Negroid, the subspecies, and all that other garbage, which was all pseudoscience fabricated to support white superiority, which had been newly created. So he left out that very important detail.
My gun loves my guns. Brings us to the genius idea of slavery. You see, boys and girls, the white people back then were also afraid of doing any work. So they went to Africa, kidnapped thousands of black people, brought them back to America, and forced them to work very hard for no money. And I don't mean no money like I work at Walmart and make no money. I mean $0. Nothing. Not a zip. Doing it that way made the USA the richest country in the world.
Yes, it did. And they refuse to acknowledge that today. That they live the way that they live and have the opportunities that they have because of what they've done. And all these new laws that were set into place to support and protect and uplift this newly created thing called white.
So did having all that money and free help calm the white people down? No way. They got even more afraid. That's because after 200 years of slavery, the black people now outnumber the white people in many parts of the South. Well, you can pretty much guess what came next. The slaves started rebelling. There were uprisings, and old master, their heads got chopped off.
Yep, some of the masters did get their heads cut off. All right. Enter the Willie Lynch letters. When Willie Lynch came from the islands to help them to get them back under control, and also gave them false faith preachers that started pushing that they started teaching a few Jakes to read the scriptures and made sure that they read only particular scriptures, kind of like what happened with Nat Turner, except Nat Turner being one of those reasons why they implemented this all over, because Nat Turner started reading the Bible and realized that clearly that they were the Israelites and that the slave masters would eat them, because he even shows you that in the Nat Turner movie, which they really tried to blackball out of the theaters. All right, but he told you in one of the scenes that every scripture that you try to use to rule over us, there's two more that says we get to pay you back. Roughly paraphrasing.
When white people heard of this, they were freaking out and going, I want to live. Don't kill me, big black man. Well, just...
And then they brought in Willie Lynch from the islands, and the famous Willie Lynch letters. And Willie Lynch, in those letters, it just told you how to break down and destroy these people by placing the man against the woman, old against young, light skin against dark skin, the field slave against the house slave. All right, and with that conditioning, 400 years of conditioning like that, Willie Lynch even told you it would take these people 1,000 years to recover from this, or if they even ever recover at all. And so through the miracle of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, the elect is waking up, but the majority of our people, they're not recovering from this. They still haven't recovered.
In the nick of time came Samuel Cope, who in 1836 invented the first weapon ever that could be fired over and over without having to reload. And all the Southerns were like, yeehaw! But it was too late. The North soon won the Civil War and the slaves were freed. Yep, they were free now to go chop all the old masters' heads off. And everybody was like, oh no, we're gonna die. But the freed slaves took no revenge. They just wanted to live in peace. But you couldn't convince the white people of this. So they formed the Ku Klux Klan.
And so that scripture was perfect. Matter of fact, I'm going to read it again. Because at the time when let me go back to that Ezekiel that I read earlier, man. Let me read that again. All right? Because at the time when our punishment was over, man, they forwarded it. They made it worse. Okay? Yeah, it says, this is Ezekiel 35 and 5 again. And it reads, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, and in the time of their calamity, and at Salakia. In the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end, all right? So at the end, so when it was supposed to be over, all right, Esau forwarded, and how? Well, the screen is going to show you now. The Ku Klux Klan formed, and they started hanging and murdering and killing, and then they wouldn't allow you to own land, wouldn't allow you to get jobs, made you live in squalor, all right? Still kept you in slavery in some places, all right?
And in 1871, the same year the Klan became an illegal terrorist organization,
So 100 years, because it was actually 1861 when they actually 1881 Salakia, when they started when they wrote into law that this new race of white people. So almost 100 years later, the Ku Klux Klan was created to help enforce it.
the group was founded, the National Rifle Association. Soon politicians passed one of the first gun laws, making it illegal for any black person to own one. It was a great...
So if you can't own a gun, and all these Klansmen got guns, and you cannot take a white man to court, then they can do whatever the hell they want to do to you. And that's exactly what they did. And there is going to be a great recompense for this. A great recompense. And it's starting to happen already. All right? Jake is lashing out at Esau, man. It's all over the internet. And the Most High is starting to destroy them with all these drugs and opioid problems and the suicide and the collapsing of their society. They're not taking it well.
Here for America, the KKK and the NRA. Of course, they had nothing to do with each other, and this was just a coincidence. One group legally promoted responsible gun ownership, and the other group shot and lynched black people. And that's the way it was all the way to 1955, when a black woman broke the law by refusing to move to the back of the bus. White people just couldn't believe it. Huh? Why won't they move? What's going on? Man, all hell broke loose. Black people everywhere started demanding their rights, and white people had a major freaky fear meltdown, and they were all like, run away! Run away! And they did. They all ran fleeing to the suburbs where it was all white and safe and clean. And they went out and bought 250 million guns and put locks on the doors, alarms in the houses, and gates around the neighborhoods. And finally, they were all safe and secure and snug as a bug.
And they call that white flight. In the 1970s, they all ran, you know, to the suburbs, man. And that's also going to be where they're going to die. And because the funny thing is that they ran out to the suburbs to get away from Jake, but they're going to die at the hand of their own people when the resources stop coming. You know, when what's happening in Brazil and in Venezuela comes to America. All right, so this is Revelation 18:6, and it reads, reward her even as she has rewarded you, and double unto her according to her works, and in the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double. So double the destruction, double the death, double the punishment. Call halal Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai and a Baba Ball.